This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice. ChatGPT-5 is finally here, and it's the most powerful update yet, with faster reasoning, smarter answers, and brand new tools like vibe coding, upgraded voice chat, and deep research mode. GPT-5 takes everything from learning to coding to the next level. But I have a question for you. Can AI actually create winning trading strategies? And here's an even bigger one. Could it ever replace human strategy development entirely? Well, one thing's for certain. The trading world is evolving fast, and AI is right at the center of that shift. On the Trading IQ official channel, we put that idea to the test using DeepSeek AI to generate automated trading strategies. And for today's video, that's exactly what we're going to figure out. I'll be giving ChatGPT a rating from 0 to 10 for each challenge it takes on how well it can achieve my requests, and I'm hoping for a combined score of at least 25 to match DeepSeek. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on. It really helps support the channel and allows us to continue creating trading indicators, tutorials, and content that helps traders around the world navigate the markets. This is calculated tops and bottoms. In this green candle here represents a calculated bottom detected by the indicator, while this red candle here represents a calculated top detected by the indicator. As soon as a calculated bottom is detected, I want my strategy to enter a long trade. And as soon as a calculated top is detected, I want my strategy to enter a short trade. These rules are simple enough, but here's the catch. I want my trades executed at the close of the bar where the entry conditions are met, not at the open of the next bar. Now, you might be wondering why that matters. Well, it's because TradingView's backtester naturally waits until the following candle to open and close positions, instead of acting on the exact bar where the signal occurs. For crypto, this isn't a huge deal, but it's the perfect test of how thorough an AI really is with PineScript. Now, calculated tops and bottoms is no slouch. It's almost 700 lines of code and uses a bit of self-optimization. So even though this is the easy challenge, it's not like we're actually giving ChatGPT-5 a freebie here. It's going to have to think, and it's going to have to work hard. We're here in the ChatGPT-5 text prompt, and I've asked ChatGPT to please convert this TradingView indicator into a strategy. I want long entries to take place whenever a green candle prints, and short entries to take place whenever a red candle prints. There are no targets or stop losses. Now, and this is most important, all entries must take place at the close of the candle where the entry signal is true and not at the open of the next bar. Let's submit our prompt and see what ChatGPT-5 is capable of. It looks like ChatGPT is already finished giving me back the new code, and I have to say I'm extremely impressed already. And this is because ChatGPT claims to have perfectly followed my instructions. It says no exits are specified and the position flips on an opposite signal. But ChatGPT also says that it fulfilled the one catch rule that we put into our instructions. And it says that orders are executed on the same bars closed, thanks to process orders on close equals true. So let's take this code, jump back over to TradingView, and see if ChatGPT is all talk. Now, the first thing I notice is that ChatGPT-5 successfully converted the indicator into a strategy and perfectly followed my instructions. There is a long position entered at this green candle here, and on the second batch of green candles, no long position is taken because the strategy is already in a long position. And then finally, at the first red candle, a short position is immediately entered. Now, you're probably wondering, did ChatGPT-5 beat the catch condition that we threw at it? And let's look further into this long position to answer that question. We can see that at this long position, the strategy took the trade at the close of the candlestick and not at the open of the next bar. And this is exactly what I wanted ChatGPT to do to get a 10 out of 10 on this first challenge. For the first challenge, ChatGPT-5 absolutely smashed crushed it. It managed to take an indicator that was nearly 700 lines of code and convert it into a working strategy flawlessly. And even when we threw in a curveball condition, it nailed it. So for completing this task perfectly, I'd have to give ChatGPT 5 a full 10 out of 10. And this brings us to step 2. The medium test, where we'll ask ChatGPT 5 to improve the strategy called Daily Timeframe Stock Alerts, a proprietary strategy developed by TradingIQ. The task? Add a second indicator to refine entries and improve trade accuracy. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. We're going to be looking at some backtest data. This data is purely hypothetical. It doesn't represent real trading results, and it's not financial advice. Trading involves risk, and you should always do your own research before making any financial decisions. Now, here's the current backtest data for our daily timeframe stock alert strategy. In this strategy has a 288% hypothetical return with a 16% max drawdown, a profit factor of 1.964, and a 71.43% win rate. Again, keep in mind these numbers are entirely hypothetical. So here's the challenge for ChatGPT 5. To earn a perfect 10 out of 10 on this medium test, it needs to improve at least 3 of these metrics. That means either a higher return, a lower drawdown, a stronger win rate, or a better profit factor. We are back on ChatGPT 5, and I've told ChatGPT that on the SPY Bailey chart, this strategy earns a 288% return along with all the other important metrics. And I said, your job is to add at least one indicator or rule to this strategy to improve 3 out of the 4 metrics mentioned above. If you succeed at this, I'll give you a perfect 10 out of 10 score on this challenge. And if you don't, well, I can't give you a perfect score. And just for fun, feel free to banter with me a bit if you think you're going to crush this challenge. All right, TradingIQ community, ChatGPT is done with theoretically improving the strategy we gave it, and it has a lot to say about its confidence. Now, ChatGPT said that this improvement will beat my baseline because it's added ATX and higher timeframe trend detection. Momentum entries will only happen in healthy trends though, in mean reversion strategies only in chop, which ChatGPT says will give a higher win rate and profit factor to the strategy. Additionally, ChatGPT added an ATR trailing stop to lock in gains and cut late reversals, and even added a time-based stop filter to quote, punt dead trades, and this should improve the win rate and reduce drawdown. ChatGPT even went as far to say that if this doesn't improve 3 metrics, it'll eat its virtual hat. But ChatGPT is fully expecting a 10 out of 10 on this challenge. We are back on TradingView, and I've got ChatGPT 5's version of the daily timeframe stock alert strategy on my chart, and it's time to check out its performance. For this hypothetical backtest, ChatGPT's version of the strategy earned an 82% return, a 6.5% drawdown, with a 60% win rate and a 1.5 profit factor. This means that the only metric that actually improved here was the match drawdown. The return is lower, the win rate is lower, and so is the profit factor. And we can see the steadiness in the equity curve for this hypothetical test is much more of a jigsaw. I've got to hand it a 6 out of 10. Now, to be fair, it did manage to improve at least one of the metrics. So hey, participation trophy for ChatGPT. But the main reason it gets a 6 is actually kind of funny. It didn't completely blow up the strategy. The backtest didn't implode, didn't spiral into disaster. It just kind of got worse. And in the world of trading strategies, sometimes not tanking is worth at least a golf clap. This is the final boss. We're about to throw ChatGPT 5 into the deep end and challenge it to build an entire trading strategy from absolute zero. No starter code, no training wheels, just a blank canvas in a single prompt. And here's what makes this test brutal. There's no one-size-fits-all definition of a good strategy. Some win often, but only grab small gains. Others lose more than they win, but their winners are massive. And some trade once in a blue moon, while others fire off constantly. So ChatGPT doesn't just have to code, it has to think like a trader. And this time, the scoring won't be based on hitting some rigid metrics. The final verdict rests on me. With years of trading experience, I'll be the judge, jury, and executioner of whether this strategy deserves a perfect 10 out of 10 or a trip back to the drawing board. And this prompt is extremely simple. Create a strategy that performs well, hypothetically of course, on the Bitcoin USDT 30-minute chart. It's for PineScript. Feel free to banter. Now, I fully expect ChatGPT to make a strategy that doesn't really work well. So let's submit our prompt and see if the brains behind ChatGPT can actually make something worthwhile. It looks like ChatGPT claims to have this amazing Bitcoin strategy that is absolutely going to smash the 30-minute chart. You can tell I'm highly skeptical, but let's see what ChatGPT has to say for itself. ChatGPT is assuring that this is a clean, non-repainting PineScript strategy. It buys dips in an uptrend and sells bounces in a downtrend, using ATR-based exits, filters chop with ADX, and importantly, fills at the close of the signal bar. No next bar open lag. That is not a requirement. For some reason, ChatGPT picked up on that from the first challenge and now thinks it's necessary to use. Anyways, let's scroll down and we can see ChatGPT actually gave me 100 to 200 lines of code here, which is pretty impressive, and even gave me a summary of what this code does. We have a trend filter, which uses the 200 EMA, which yawn, a ton of strategies already do. This is not the same creativity we saw with DeepSeek. The entry logic waits for a pullback against the trend using RSI in a 20 EMA, and then there's a chop filter that requires ADX to be above 18. ADX is very difficult to make work in a strategy. So I don't know why ChatGPT has an affinity for this indicator, but ultimately we'll see if it works. ChatGPT also explains how it's using ATR-based exits, and there's even a cooldown for each trade. Pro tips for dialing it in, and these are just some instructions on what settings I need to change to get certain results out of the indicator. We are back on TradingView, and I've got ChatGPT's strategy pulled up on the chart. Funny enough, it went ahead and called this one the dip and rip. Now with a name like that, you'd expect it to absolutely nail every pullback right before Bitcoin takes off. But let's be real, I've been burned by ChatGPT flashy names and bold promises before, only to find out that the substance wasn't really there. So let's fire up the dip and rip strategy and see if it actually delivers. And after loading up the dip and rip, we can see some long and short signals on the chart here. Not a very elegant looking indicator, and the back test is a complete failure. Remember, all these back tests are strictly hypothetical and are not financial advice. But this back test in particular didn't even have a positive return, something that DeepSeek was at least able to do. The win rate is 41%, and the profit factor is a miserable 0.794. By all means, this strategy sucks. DeepSeek seems to be far more creative and come up with ideas that actually have some substance. Now for this particular strategy and challenge, as much as it hurts, I have to give ChatGPT a 0 out of 10 on this strategy. So with this final test, ChatGPT's total score across all challenges comes in at a pretty underwhelming 16 out of 30, falling 9 points short of DeepSeek AI. And from my experience, ChatGPT just doesn't have the creativity to build a truly worthwhile strategy on its own. But hey, that's what makes these experiments fun. Don't forget to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more AI trading tests. Join our active Trading IQ Discord community and follow us on TradingView and Twitter to keep up with all our latest strategies and experiments. You can find these links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.